What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new video. So in today's video we're going to be back working on the 2019 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk Elite, and we're going to get this thing painted in this video. So without further ado, I'm going to get to work on this thing, get everything prepped up, and send it through the paint. As you guys can see, we've already gotten the bodywork done on the door and the pillar up here. There were a bunch of chips from rocks and whatnot over its life. And there were a few dents up here on the roof and around where the roof rail mounts. It looks like some things had been dropped on it in the past when the previous owner was loading things. So what I'm going to do now is get these doors disassembled, get the moldings off. We're going to be carrying clear coat up and over the pillars into the quarter so everything blends, and we're going to be blending from the other side fender into the door, so that door is going to have to be coming apart as well, and we'll be painting this door obviously. So I'm going to go ahead, get the glass out of this door, get the mirror off, handle off, moldings and emblems and everything taken off, do that on the other side as well. And then the rear bumper cover is going to have to come off of here so we can bring the clear coat up and over. We won't have to tape anything off on the panel or on the bumper cover. Going to remove that, remove the lights and everything, so we'll make it a lot easier to get this paint work done. And then I'm going to come in the back. I got two trim panels to replace over here that were damaged from the curtain airbag going off. I have the new panels already here, and once I do that, it's going to give me easier access to drop this corner of the headliner and get the antenna taken off so they can continue the clear coat over the whole roof. So without further ado, I'm going to start on this door right here, start getting the trim, the handles out, start by taking out the interior trim panel so I have access to everything, and we're going to go from there and get this door completely stripped. Then we'll move over to the other side and repeat the process. So we got the lift gate, the tail lights, and all the trim around it removed. Got the gate set over there so it doesn't get damaged. Next, I'm going to get this up on the quick jack so we can pull the rear wheels to start taking off the rear bumper cover. You saw I took out the two bolts with the little rubber stoppers on either side and the interior here. The tail lights have to come out for access to the top of the retainer. And then what we have to do is remove the rear wheelhouse liners so we can get to the clips that hold these little sections of wheel opening molding on. They can be accessed through the back of the quarter. So I don't want to break all the clips coming off, so the only way I can get to it is by pulling this liner out. This molding has to come off because there's one screw that's on a tab from the bumper cover that sits about right here behind this section of wheel opening molding. So we have to pull the liner to get to this, take this off, and then we can get that off with the rest of the cover. There's a bolt here. I believe there's another one going up under this way if I remember right from the other one that I did. And then on the rear, there's some bolts along the bottom here that are easy to access. And once we do that, we should be able to get this off. I removed these here already on either side, and these are going to have to come out as well. And the bolts on the side, like I mentioned, the rest of it's held on by, snap retainers like usual. So we'll go ahead, get those wheels off and start this process, and I'll take you along through the whole process. access the antenna on the roof, I removed this D-pillar trim around the quarter glass here, which allow me to drop the headliner a little bit. It's held in by these two clips in the rear, and once we're inside, there's going to be 3 wires that we're looking for the antenna. This magenta wire here, this white wire here, and the yellow wire connector next to it. They all run up into this little hole, and there's a 10mm bolt that's up in this hole. I don't think I'll be able to show it to you. Maybe, let me try. Right there is the 10mm bolt that holds the antenna down to the roof. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect those 3 wires that I mentioned, and then I'll sneak up in there with an electric ratchet and get that bolt out. Once it comes out, the fastener will be loose on the other side, and it'll allow me to take the antenna off the roof as a unit. So this little pod will just come right off. We don't have to disconnect the mast or anything. The whole thing will just come off as a unit. So I'm gonna get that disconnected, get that off, and then this will be ready to be prepped. As you can see, we got those 3 wires disconnected. All of that wiring there is gonna go with the antenna when it comes out of the roof. Alrighty guys, so we got the bumper cover removed from the Cherokee. As I said, there's just a few screws after we remove those wheel opening moldings there. And you're going to want to disconnect the main wiring harness connector here that feeds the parking sensors, the blind spot monitor, and this one has the kick to open tailgate, so the sensor for that is also in the bumper cover. Going to want to get that disconnected, and once you do that, it's pretty straightforward. All the screws I mentioned before, up here, down here, and same thing on the other sides, and there's one on the corner right here. They're all T30. So once you get those out, the bumper just snaps off. We got it set aside. I'm gonna set this back on the ground, and I will get it outside and wash it off tomorrow before we send it over and get it prepped for paint. Then it'll go into the booth and we'll be good to go. It'll all be the right color, one color, and we'll start putting pieces back together. The Cherokee came out of paint and it looks amazing. The color matches perfectly and the finish is great. I already started putting on some of the moldings, got the emblems on the doors, fenders are installed, lined up with the hood, got the headlights put in and started putting on some of the trim. I also got the liftgate installed here and it does work. The power functions work properly and everything lines up good back here. Got the damage to the roof repaired, got the rails reinstalled, the antenna back in. Paint looks great up there as well. Coming back down to the doors, got the moldings and fender on over here, got the lower door molding emblem on, got both headlights in, emblem on the hood, got the grille installed. Only thing that's left on the hood is the decal for the blackout in the center. And then I'm gonna start getting the retainers riveted on for the bumper cover up front and get the bumper installed there. And then I will go down back and do the same thing. Gotta put the cover back on here and put the tail lights in, put the new moldings on the quarters. And what I want to do before I put the rear cover on is actually wash out the inside because there was a ton of dust in there from whoever owned it before, driving it on dirt roads and such in Texas where it came from. So I want to get that washed up and then we'll put the rear cover on. So I'm going to go get the rear cover from upstairs, put it on and get that cleaned up. We'll get the rear end reassembled because that's going to be quicker and easier. And then we'll move up front and get the front end knocked out. After the front end is finished, we will jump inside, put the doors back together. I'm going to cavity wax the bottom of all 4 doors so they don't rust. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the handles in, put the belt moldings on, glass back in, and interior trim panels back on both sides. Once I get that done, that should about wrap it up. Oh, and we're also going to have to put the mirrors on. Get everything wrapped up on there, and we should be just about ready to get this thing on the road for its first time. So now we got the whole rear end reassembled, got the bumper cover on, all the moldings on, bumper covers bolted in completely. Everything works back here, the parking sensors work, new moldings on the quarter. We even got the hands-free liftgate working. One thing I will have to do is adjust the gate a little bit. You can see the gap here is a little bit tight. It's wider here, so I'm going to shift that over, get that lined up. I can hear the latch bind a little bit when it goes in to close automatically. Got to get that pushed over to the right. Otherwise, we're done back here. We have to put the fender liners in still in the rear, and then we'll move on to the front, get the retainers on, and get the front bumper cover attached. So the front bumper is installed. A couple minor adjustments I have to do with the hood here along the gap where it meets the headlight, and up to the fender here it's a little bit wide. Gap looks okay here, looks normal along the bumper, and we need to adjust this gap a little bit here and up to the light as well. So the hood's gonna have to move around, but otherwise not bad. The gaps from the bumper cover to the fender are really good on both sides. Those new retainers do a great job. Looks good here as well. She's shaping up. Next, I'm going to go in and check all the parking sensors and the adaptive cruise radar in this. That module is going to need to have a proxy alignment done so it comes back online after being disconnected. And once we get that done, we should have all the lights on the dash cleared aside from the blind spot where we have the mirrors out. But the mirrors are a quick install. I'm going to actually get that next, do the belt moldings, the mirrors, and the glass in the front doors. Guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start buffing this hood. Got a couple wet bag marks from the paint process. We painted the hood first and then the fenders and doors after the fact, so the hood was masked off. Got a couple smudges up there that we want to take care of before we put the Trailhawk hood decal on this. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab the polisher, some compound, buff this down nice, make sure this hood is perfect before we put that decal down, and then I will get the decal and show you the process of applying it, squeegeeing out the application fluid, and getting that on there without any bubbles or wrinkles or anything, get it as perfect as the factory does it, and then the outside of this Jeep will be 100% finished. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the hood. I've already started with some 70% isopropyl alcohol. Make sure that there's no contaminants, waxes, residue from the compound on the hood at all. We don't want any dust or anything in here so it doesn't get in the decal when we're applying it. Want to make sure that the hood is completely clean so the decal adheres properly to the surface and we don't get any issues or contamination in the decal. Once this flashes, I will wipe it off with another dry microfiber and make sure that the surface is completely clean for the application process. New decal. I'm going to take it and spray it down with the decal application fluid and let it soak into the upper backing material. This will make the backing that's underneath this a lot easier for separation once we get the decal off, because it does have to come off of its backing, and then this white film over it will stay on it, and that'll help us squeegee it off of the film and to the hood of the car. Let that sit and soak in for a minute. Process is done. This is going to sit inside for the weekend. We don't want it going outside and getting cold or anything until the decal has had its 72-hour curing period. So I'm going to leave that sit, and we're going to check back in on it in a couple days. We got all the application fluid wiped off, and it actually turned out really good. There's no bubbles or dirt nibs or anything. It actually looks pretty great. So I'm happy with it, how it turned out, and then we'll check back with it and make sure that everything is tacked down properly within a couple days. So guys, that is going to be the end of today's video. We have the Trailhawk completely rebuilt and it is ready to start the paperwork process. I'm going to get all the paperwork mailed into the state to get the rebuilt title sent back to me. We'll take it through inspection, and then once that portion is complete, we'll take it on its first drive. It'll be a little bit until a new video comes out about the first drive because it takes a few weeks for the rebuilt title to come back to me in the mail. But until then, if you like this series, if you like the videos you've seen elsewhere on the channel, if you have a friend that might like them, feel free to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any further projects to come, and share this video with a friend. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.